Everything went on serene. I don't think we learned as much. So I would like to have someone come up and, a young man, please. Because I have women around so much, I need men around me to create that polarity. I think there was offered the other day someone who had a situation. I want a large one. There were 4 or 5 situations that wanted to be solved. Yes.
The husband had died, the widow remarried, and the husband is returning to visit the two.
Okay. That case number 1. Husband died. We call him A. Just the husband died. So the husband is A. Yeah. Wife. What happened? What did the husband die of? An accident or a normal?
An accident took place early in his life, a head injury, and because of this he was somewhat incapacitated in that he was never able to finish anything that he started. This was an obstacle throughout his entire lifetime, and because of this felt very much being a failure. It was not commonly understood that it was the result of an injury in his younger period, this had helped, or that this had happened the way it did, and possibly as a result of the remorse of his failure, these visits are now being made.
How long was he incapacitated?
Well, he was about 55 when he died, and the injury happened during a sport period when he was possibly in his late teens, early 20s.
Age 18 or 20. When
This would be a reasonable guess.
Yeah, 18 or 20. Accident occurred.
That's right.
Which incapacitated. Head injury. Okay. How old was he by this time when he passed on?
55.
Oh, we can put him up there, 55, parentheses, and died, after died. Yeah, 57. Age of his wife now?
She is now 59.
Okay, 59. And under wife, remarried, right? Husband at the present time?
The age of the husband at the present time?
No, status, physical status.
He has only one leg. He has one leg amputated.
No, husband number 2. Any children?
Not any that are involved in this. She had family from the first marriage, and he has a family.
Okay. Now, what is the situation in this case?
At the present time? Could you point that question a little more?
I said, what is troubling the wife or the present husband?
It's the visitation.
Visitation of husband number
first
1. Okay. Husband visitation. You can put it on the
He returns to tell her that
1A. 1. Well, right down below. Right down below here. 1A.
Returns
To visit wife.
wonder if you have when they get in cases come up here, that'll make it easier for everybody to see them and everything.
I beg your pardon?
Have them come up and sit up with you.
Yeah, sure, sure. Who's this? Sit right here. Do you want to say the whole story so that we can, everyone can hear you?
I'll try and explain this in a human interest sort of way. To give you some of the background of the lady first. She was raised not far from Calgary, and first she had trouble with the regular fundamentalist church that she had attended, and then took up with the Unity Church. And there were problems that existed in the family constantly.
What type of problems?
Unresolvable problems in that the husband would, these people were farmers, and he would undertake to do certain kinds of activity to further the well-being of the family, but nothing seemed to succeed. He just did not have the capability of finishing anything he started. He would go into pig ranching and would never finish it, and then he would go into sheep ranching and couldn't finish it. But it just did not become apparent as to what the problem was until later on it came out after his death, because he had died from a tumor on the brain that originated from this injury he received in sports in his younger life. She is a social worker, or was a social worker at the time, and counseling.
Social worker. Down below. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Counseling inmates, and in attempt to rehabilitate them. And naturally this troubled her. Then she married this man who is considerably younger than herself by about 15 years. And all this time she was concerned, as well as he was concerned, about what these problems were all about, because they were still visiting the family along with his return periodically. He would visit both of them. They could both see him as an apparition, and he would tell her how much he still loved her. Whether the new husband took exception or is taking exception to this, I do not know. I have not been able to ascertain. But he is somewhat psychic, very sensitive. He has an Amerindian or an American Indian background. I think he's half Indian and half French. And extremely sensitive to psychic energies. I have worked with these people, both of them in trance state, and some of this has come out as a result of working with them.
What type of patients did she have? Social worker for inmates?
Yes, inmates, incarcerated people.
Where at?
Pardon?
Where at?
This is in Alberta.
Oh, you know.
Yes. Not far from
Is that-
Calgary.
I see.
Yes.
Are these criminals?
These people? No.
No, just patients.
Now, who are you talking about?
The social worker works with inmates.
Yes, she works with, or she has been working with inmates. She no longer works with them. She was a social worker at a home for rehabilitation of these people.
Okay. Can I get any feedback on this? What suggestions would you make if you were looking at a case like this? Any suggestions? We're going to put that on the board. Yes.
How long did her husband die when she remarried? And was the man she remarried one of her patients or one of the people she worked with?
One of the inmates, yes. Rehabilitated inmate. Mm-hmm. About 4 years.
Rehabilitated from what?
From his former method of approach to life.
Was the visitation after the marriage or before the marriage?
To her, I believe it was before, to two of them after.
The spirit of the husband who has gone and returning in such a way is in need of being rescued because he is a wandering soul at this time.
That is true. He's earthbound, so naturally needs to be released. That's in this case. However, when we look at this, the influence of her work, she's a social worker and she is exposed to many vibrations of other inmates or other people other than her husband. Yes.
Would you say that she might be having a great deal of guilt, not thinking too highly of herself, and that's the reason why she married the men who were handicapped, and maybe it might be due to all other emotional causes that here she has to take on handicapped men, even who work alone, it shows.
The questions, the party suggests that it's a possibility, maybe it could be her guilt. Well, it's possible, and yet there's the other possibility that she truly could have been in love with the person, because I have in one of my classes that there had been someone that had worked closely with the penal group and as a worker similar to this. And finally that person became so involved in the case that she fell in love with the inmate. And this is a very serious case. I think it's one of the cases that's one of the well-known cases in American, courts. So I would like to see how it works out. But that may be the possibility. So as we look at any other suggestions, yes.
Well, first of all, I asked if there were children. Did she and the first husband have children? Because I feel a very strong pull there, especially if they're adults. Number one, mother married a younger man. Number two, children expecting an inheritance will probably not get it because the man is so much younger that when she passes over, he will most likely get it. And I feel that even though there's appearance on the outside that everything's all right, it may not be, and there may be mumblings going on. What would Daddy think of this? I wonder how Father's approach would he want this criminal to have, and what was his original husband's idea about her work as a social worker with the criminal element. So there could be mumblings.
How long did she work as a social worker?
That's true.
Because he might.
How long did she work as a social worker? That's important.
3 years.
Oh, just put down 3 years. Yes.
You mentioned that they
were Methodists, or she was a Methodist and went to Unity. And
Not a Methodist.
No.
I said fundamentalist.
fundamentalist, and
Yes.
she went to Unity.
Yes, because she felt very lost in the
Is
fundamentalist
she
thing.
still in Unity?
No, she's with the Morrnah Research.
Well, in Unity, they give to keep this simple, they give a marvelous basic foundation on divine love. The man has come back to tell her that he loves her, and he wants a release from her, for her to tell him that she loves him too. So she's to work with the divine aspect of love and talk to him until he does leave. It's that simple. Whether she tells him that she loves him or not, but she feels it. Oftentimes, these spirits do not hear you or cannot hear you, but can feel the vibration of love. She's got to work with that divine vibration, and she will release him to go on where he's supposed to go.
Could
It's
you
that simple.
repeat that again so that I don't foul up in understanding what you're saying?
Well, you mentioned she was into Unity, and for her to be into Unity and to go into Puna means that she really has a marvelous foundation, but she doesn't understand how to release him. And she must release him because he wants to hear that she loves him too. He keeps telling her, does he not, that he loves her.
Mind you, we have been through this.
Has she felt or has she given this divine love through the feeling rather than just a lip service?
She feels that the position is such that he's returning because of all his failures in the past and asking for forgiveness, and she has more and more
Guilt.
tried to assure him that everything was okay.
But work with that vibration of divine love and it handles everything.
She knows this.
But she must not be working with it.
Well,
May I interject something?
Yes,
They lived in that house over 8 years, is that right, on the farm?
that's right. House.
Where had she been imprisoned in an earlier part of her life?
she hasn't been in prison.